Hello and welcome to another discussion on the basics of AutoCAD. For today's activity, we will discuss on the commands of circle and mirror. So we have here three examples or three figures which we are going to use for this exercise. So let's start with this figure. So the first thing to do is to create this circle, and then we have here the instruction or the measurement of the outside circle, which is the color green one. So the radius is 0.90 meters. So to start, let us create our circle. To create a circle, you can type in the whole command or you can just type letter C. So that is the shortcut for circle. And then it will ask you to specify a center point, meaning the center of the circle. So let's start it, place it here. And then as you can see, it will create the figure of a circle. And then the next thing is it's either to click a certain area, which will become the boundary of your circle, or you can type in a certain distance or measurement. And then when placing a measurement of a circle, you have two options. It's either diameter or radius. So again, type in the command circle, place the midpoint or the center, which is here, and then instead of clicking any point here, we will just type the instruction, which is the radius of 0.90 meters. So as you can see on the status bar, what we have here is the diameter. So to change this one into radius, kindly type R, enter. So now we are having the radius of a circle, and then type the 0.90, enter. So this one is a 0.90 radius circle. So if we do the other one, which is the diameter, so we can compare now. So circle, click, this is my midpoint, and then if I want to do it by diameter, before typing the diameter or the measurement, first type D, enter. Now the diameter, let's say 0.90. So as you can see, there is a difference between using a radius and a diameter. So this one is a 90.90 meter radius circle, while the other one is a 0.90 diameter circle. So that is the difference. So we will use this one, the 0.90 radius of a circle. Now, we will draw this inner circle. These are semicircles inside. To start, let's place this line located at the midpoint of the circle. So we will create a line, enter, and then locate the midpoint of the circle using the polar tracking, which was discussed previously. And then from the center, just create this horizontal line and extend it towards the edges. So now we have this center line, and then if we look at the examples, we have here points. The points here represents the segments of this line. We have to divide this line so that we can have these points, and then these points now will become the midpoints of these circles inside. Okay, so again, we have to divide the center line so that it will give us these points, which will become the radius of the inner circles. Okay, so let's try to check how many segments do we need. Because when dividing objects in AutoCAD, it will ask for the number of segments. So the number of segments will be the number of divisions. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that means this line should be divided by 8. So to divide this one, type in the command divide. Divide, enter, and then it will ask for the object you wish to divide. So for here, it would be this line. Click, and now it will ask for the number of segments. Okay, the number of segments, and then the number of segments was 8. Enter. Okay, so as you can see, it gives us points. So these points now represents the endpoints of each segment. Okay, so to change these points, you just go to the DDP type, wherein we can change the type of points that we will use and also the size of these points. So for example, I will change the design of the points. Let's use this one. So it changes. And then it also follows the point size that was being placed here. Okay. So to continue, we have here 3 semicircles inside. So the first circle will be using the first point. So this is the first point of the first semicircle. So what we will just do is to create a circle, and then we will use the first midpoint, click this one, and then its endpoint will be the same endpoint of this big circle, which is this one. So that is the first one. The second one will use the second point. So again, circle, click the second point, and then its endpoint will be the same as the first semicircle that we created, which is around this point. Click, and then the last one, the third one, will now be using the third point. So this one, click, is your midpoint, and then your endpoint will be the same as the other semicircles. There. So this is basically done, but what we need to do is to trim this part right here, because on the example that is not included. So trim, PR, enter, and then I will select this boundary so that all of the objects that crosses this line or boundary will be deleted. So again, TR, enter. So I will select this one, enter, and then I will select the objects that will be trimmed. Okay, so I am done with the upper portion of these semicircles. And then for the lower portion, we have 2 ways to do this one. So the first one is to make the same process, but this time starting from the opposite end. So from the right, the first point from the right will be the first endpoint. So circle, I will use this point, and then this time the endpoint will be this opposite side. And then next, the second point, and then the third point. And then now I will delete this extra lines. So there it will give us the same figure as the example. So this is the first process. The second process, however, is by using another command, which is mirror. So mirror works this way. So I have here a different example. We have here a rectangle. So mirror works this way. It will give you a copy, but the copy acts like a reflection. Okay, so again, to use the mirror, select the object first, click. So we already selected this one, and then type in the command for mirror. So the command is mirror, or the shortcut is MI. Okay, so mirror, click. Now specify the first point of the mirror line. So this is my first point, and then it will ask for the second point of the mirror line. So my second point will be this point. So meaning my line of reflection will be this one. So meaning the reflection will turn towards this line. Okay, so my mirror is being placed at this line. So again, what I will do is select the object first, and then type in the mirror mi, enter, and then specify the first point of mirror line. Let's place it here, the base point here, click, and then towards the vertical point here. And then, as you can see, it created a reflection or a mirror. And then before closing the command, it will ask you question, erase source object. You have here yes or no, meaning if you want to erase your source object or the object that you copied. So let's say yes, type in y, enter, so it deletes your source object. However, if you click no or n, so again mirror from this point to this point, and then now it will ask you for if you want to erase the source object. No, you can just type in n for no, enter. So here it did not delete the source object. Okay, so let's try another example for mirror. So again, we will use the same figure, but this time to a different direction. So click the object, mirror, mi, enter. Now instead from going vertical, let's do horizontal. So same starting point, which it will be this point, but then instead of going upward, what we will do is we go horizontal, sideways. So as you can see, the direction of the mirror goes with your points. Okay, so if you go vertical, the mirror will follow. But if I go this way, the mirrored object will follow the direction of the mirror line, which is this point. Click, and then let's say no and enter. So as you can see, it retains the source object. So going back to the example, no, we will copy this one, and then let's move this one to the bottom portion. So I will select the object, and then when I mirror this one, it will be horizontally so that it will mirror towards the bottom portion. So select the object, and then type in mirror, mi, enter, and then my first point will be from this endpoint. Click this one, and then my next endpoint will be the other endpoint. So this is horizontal orientation, so that the mirror will be placed at the bottom portion. Click, and then erase source object. That would be no, so that it will retain the source object. Enter. Okay, so it copied the original or the source object, which is this one. But if you look at the example, we should turn this one to the other side, meaning a different orientation. Now, to do this one, simply use the mirror again. But this time, our starting point of the mirror will be at the center, so that when it turns sideways, it will turn, and then it will use the midpoint as the basis of its turning. Okay, so click the objects, and then now when we mirror this one, mi, enter, our first point of mirror line will be from the center, so which is this point. So click this one, and then specify the second point. Let's place it where that would be vertical. Okay, vertically, so that it will turn sideways. Okay, so again, select the objects, and then mirror, mi, enter. So our starting point will be from the center. Okay, and then the direction will be going upwards or vertical, so that the mirror object will turn sideways. Okay, so click, and then this time it will ask you erase source object. Instead of uh, placing no, we will type yes, so that it will erase the source object. Okay, because we don't need this one. What we need is the mirrored object No? So let's place y for yes, y, enter. So as you can see, it erases the source object, which we don't need for this figure. Okay, so now we both have the same figure but using different process. Okay, so this one is being made by using mirrors. So this time, let's match the properties or the layers. So for the outside circle, we will be using a 0.5 layer. And then for the inside one, will be 0.1. Or you can just simply match this one after. And then the line at the center will be a hidden line or will be placed on a hidden layer. So we are done with the first figure. The second figure now is composed of a circle and a polygon inside, which has a 5-side polygon, which is a pentagon. So we will have another command. This time, this involves creating a polygon. Okay, so to start, again, let's just copy this circle because all of the outer circles have the same dimensions, which is a 0.90 meter radius. So to create this star, what we will do first is to create this pentagon or polygon inside. Okay, so to do a polygon, you can just type the whole word or polygon, enter. Now, it will ask you the first question, which is how many sides of the polygon. So what we need is a 5-sided polygon. So we will type 5, enter. Now, specify center of polygon. So our center will be the same as the center of this circle. So we will locate the center of this circle. Click. Now, you have here two options, inscribe in circle or circumscribe about circle. So let's use this first one, inscribe in circle. So I will type I for inscribe, meaning the polygon will be placed inside a circle. So I enter. Now specify radius of circle. So our radius was 0.90. Okay, so enter. So you have here your polygon. So what we did was we placed a polygon and then placing it inscribe a circle. So let's try to do the other one. So again, type polygon and then the number of sides is 5 and then the center will be the center of this circle. Click. This time, instead of using inscribe, we will use the circumscribe. C, enter, and then specify the radius of the circle. So the radius of the circle is 0.90. So as you can see, there is a difference. If you say inscribe, it will be inside the radius of the circle. If you say circumscribe, it will be outside the radius of the circle. So that is the difference. So we will delete this one. We will just use this one. Now, since we have these 5 points, this will be the endpoints of the star. So what we will do is just connect these points. So we will use either a line or a polygon. So let's use line, enter. So this point, just connect the points, enter. Okay, after delete the unnecessary parts. So that would be these points, these lines. And then the next one is to connect them again, but each point or corner will be directed towards the center point. So the center point will be at this one, the center of the circle. So click this midpoint and then connect each corners or endpoints. Okay, so after, I will assign now the layers. So for the polygon will be a hidden layer, and then the outside lines of the star will be a point 3 line. So point 3, just copy this one, and then for the inside lines that would be a point 1. Now this part here is just a hatch, so we will place a hatch on the selected areas of the star. So H for hatch, enter, and then I will select a hatch, so I will select this one. So select a hatch, and then I will select the very first hatch, which is this one, and then select the areas. So that would be this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, so enter. So we already have our hatch, and then what we will do now is to edit this one. So the first thing to do is to change its direction. So this direction is not the same as this one. So what we'll do is to locate or to look for the certain angle which will make this pattern turn and become vertical. Okay, so click the hatch, and then as you can see, it will give you the properties. So for the first one, as you can see, the angle is in 0. So this is the default pattern, default direction of the pattern. So we will change this one. So click, I will select an angle, let's say 45. Okay, so when I change the angle to 45, it rotated 45 degrees counterclockwise. So now the pattern is already correct. So what we'll need to change after is the size of the pattern. So let's say 0.1. Okay, so that's it's a bit small, so let's make this bigger, 0.2. Okay, so this is already done. So we will place a layer for this pattern. So go to properties and place it on a 0.1 pattern. So we are done with figure number 2. So we will proceed with figure number 3. So again, figure number 3 will start with the outside circle, same as the other figures. So we will just copy this one. Okay, now same as the first example, we will start with a horizontal line located at the center. So 9, and then I will look for the center of the circle, and then you have here 3 circles along this horizontal line. So meaning, if we create a circle, we need a midpoint. So since it has 3 circles, we need 3 midpoints. Okay, so we will count the number of segments that we need to divide this line. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we need to divide this line by 6 segments so that it will give us 6 points. These points rather. So again, to divide, click, select the object, and then divide. Again, it will ask you to select the object which will be divided. So we will divide this one, and then the number of segments is 6. Enter. So we have these points and then the 6 segments. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's start with creating the circles along this horizontal line. So we will start from the center. So from the center line here, that would be the center of the first circle, and then the end point will be the point to its side. Okay, so this one, same as the circles on its side. So we will use this midpoint, the first midpoint circle, click as the midpoint, and then its endpoint will be the next point, same as the other one. click, and then this one. Okay, so we already have 3 circles along the horizontal line. So what we need now are 2 circles. I'm rather 4. Okay, so to locate the midpoints of the circles, which will be around here, what we need to do is to create this circle and then this line. Okay, so this line is drawn using a 60-degree line. Okay, from the center, we need to place a 60-degree line. So to do that, okay, first make sure that your polar tracking is set to 30 degrees. So let's make a line, enter. So from the center, let's look for the 60-degree line. So this is the direction of the 60-degree line, and then connect it towards the outer circle. Click, and then just extend this one to the opposite side. So extend, enter. So select this boundary, and then this one. Okay, so that is our first guideline. That's the first 60-degree line. And then we need to have the other one on the opposite side. So I will just use the mirror command. So click this point and then mirror, and then my first point will be at the center. So it will be rotated, or it will be reflected at the center. So from here and then towards the vertical position, so that it will be copied sideways. So click this one, and then no, I will not erase this one, enter. So I now have my two 60-degree lines. Now the next one is this circle. Okay, so the intersection now of these lines and then this circle will become the midpoints of the other circles. So what we will do is create a circle and then start from the center, click, this is the midpoint, and then our endpoint will be the first point, which is this one. Click. So now you have, we will place a point around here, point. So these intersections will be the midpoints of the other circles. Okay, so let's try to place now the remaining circles. So type in circle, enter. Then we will have this first midpoint, and then its endpoint will be towards the endpoint of the other circle. So this one, same as the opposite side, towards the endpoint or intersection of the circle in the center. So it's either you do it one by one, or you can do it this way. After making this first the other circles on top, we'll just mirror it towards the bottom portion. Okay, and then no, enter. So our figure now is complete. So we will just match or place the properties or the layers intended for these objects. So for the circles inside, that would be yellow or 0.3. So just match with the other circles. And then for the guidelines, the horizontal guidelines and the diagonal lines, that would be a hidden line. This one is a hidden line. Then the other one is a hidden line. Also this one, and also this one. And then the inner circle will be the same as the others. It would be 0.3. So there, you now have 3 different figures.